I'm Haley Brosa, and you're listening to Sweet Success.
You've just checked in to Sweet Success. Join me, Katie Klein, for exclusive conversations with hotel executives, hospitality leaders, and industry innovators. Together, we'll uncover the strategies and techniques these masters of hospitality relentlessly refine. Whether you're already in the industry or just starting out, tune in every week to unlock the secret to your sweet success. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sweet Success. I'm your host, Katie Klein, and today I'm super excited to welcome Haley Brosa to the show. I had the pleasure of meeting Haley during the Level Up Your Listing Summit when the conference's VIP party was hosted at her immaculately designed and absolutely gorgeous short-term rental, Howdy House. Don't just take my word for it, though. Howdy House was recently featured in the Holy Grail Arc Digest. This wasn't Haley's first rodeo, though, pun intended, as she's also the owner of Holly House, a home she gutted to the studs, transforming it into a unique rental focused on bachelorette parties. Within 10 days of going live on Airbnb, Holly House was booked solid for 6 months, finding itself in the top 1% of listings in one of the most competitive short-term rental markets in the country, Scottsdale, Arizona. Haley, thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you. That was so kind. I appreciate all that.
All of your work speaks for itself. It's very easy to give you a kind introduction.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to get to talk to you today. Those stats that I just shared in your introduction about both Holly House and Howdy House are just astounding. But what I really love about your story is that you had zero experience in short-term rentals before you got started. So tell me, what made you want to own and operate a short-term rental in the first place? And what were those first early steps that you took to get started?
Yeah. So my dream has kind of always been to be a stay-at-home mom and be really hands-on with my kids. And while I loved doing that so much, around the time when my son was 2 and my daughter was I was about 7 months pregnant with my daughter, I started to feel kind of like a loss of identity. I almost felt like my brain was turning to mush. I forgot how to talk to adults, and I was craving like a creative outlet. So I was talking to my husband and we're like, we've always been interested in investing in real estate. And so that paired with our love for hosting our friends and family, we kind of just felt like Airbnb would be a good next step. And we thought we'd give it a shot. So being so pregnant, we're kind of at this time crunch. If we're going to do something, now is the time. Let's try to get it going before baby. So we ended up investing in the B&B Academy by Michael Elefante, if you've heard of it. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing. We just kind of crash course, learned everything there was to know about running an Airbnb. And it's all kind of video modules. So we would stay up every night watching these videos and just kind of helped give us a little bit of confidence to just jump in. And really the biggest thing we learned was that there was so much we didn't even know that we didn't know. I mean, there's tax strategy, legal strategy, so much that you would never even realize. I kind of just thought you need to have this really cute house and learn how to work the platform. So we had a lot to learn, but we just kind of dove right in.
That's amazing. So you finished the course before baby came and then took the actual step of purchasing Holly House after that, or how did that timeline go?
We were taking the courses at night, looking at houses during the day, and it's kind of funny. We actually bought Holly House on the day our daughter was born. So in the hospital room in full labor, we got the call that they accepted our offer. So we were proud new owners of this beautiful baby girl and the ugly house on Holly Street that was going to be a huge project.
That is amazing.
Came at one time and we're like, okay, I guess we're going for it.
That is incredible. I mean, first of all, I love that you guys chose to take a course because I think sometimes, at least this has been my experience, when we have an idea that feels very different than what we've either grown up with or we see other people around us doing, it can feel really crazy until you get into these rooms like Level Up Your Listing or courses like the one that you took. And all of a sudden you look around and you're like, wait, actually, maybe I'm crazy for not having done this sooner, as opposed to being the crazy one for thinking about it. And honestly, there is no better deadline than a baby. I really am so impressed with that. And in a very similar boat myself, I have a 3-year old and pregnant with our second, very close to our due date now. And honestly, I have been like, okay, I've had this much time. Like, how much can I pack in until that due date comes? So kudos to you
Oh,
guys.
thank you. Thank you. And same to you.
Thank you. So, okay, so you've got this beautiful baby girl, you've got a
Yeah.
toddler at home, you've got an ugly house on a beautiful street, as you referred to it
Yeah.
as. So, what was the next step from there? Like, did you give yourself some time to recover? I hope.
Nope. We give ourselves no time. I would be like there nursing our baby and like trying to design, like order tile and tubs and sink faucets and like all these things. My husband, who was also working full time, and he's kind of like a construction wizard genius. So this was
Is
like,
that what he does for a living, or is that just like
yeah,
personal talent? Okay,
he
that's
does
great.
like general contracting services, but for like Fortune 500 companies. So he does them on like massive, massive scales.
Wow.
So this was kind of like okay, he could like do this no problem. But he was there in between, like before and after work every day, just like kind of making sure everything was going right. And yeah, we didn't want to waste a single day because every day that it's not live is just more money that you're
Yep.
just kind of like letting sit there. So from the time of demo to it took us 2 months exactly to do this huge renovation. And then it took us 2 months to kind of get all of like the design and the furnitures built. And, while being home with our kids, baby, newborn, no sleep, all the
Oh
things.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And how old was your newborn by the time that you were like, okay, Holly House is ready to go live?
She was 4 months.
Wow. Wow. So you
Yeah.
really gave yourself, there wasn't even like a long closing period or anything in there either.
Yeah, we just kind of went right in. We took the closing period, there was 30 days. They did let us in the house twice. So we brought in all of the whole team and everyone got their measurements. We had everything ready to go. So the day that we got the keys, it was like every single day was scheduled like 10 contractors at a time. And because I mean, we did every single thing of the house is brand new. The
Wow.
only thing that we kept true to the original house was the shape of the pool. And it's actually a perfect circle. So it's like very unique. And it's actually my favorite part of the house.
It's incredible. You know, bachelorette parties get a really bad rap in the hospitality industry. And actually, I was just talking to a fellow short term rental owner the other day, talking about how I had a bachelorette party in house this last weekend. And the person I was talking to was like, oh, you do that? And so clearly there's a strong reaction from people when you talk about bachelor and bachelorette parties. And Holly House, you really designed with bachelorette parties in mind. So, what made you want to cater to that crowd in the first place?
Well, like you said, we live in like one of the most saturated places for short-term rentals, being in Old Town Scottsdale. So we knew that if we were going to do something unique or something that worked, we had to do something very different. And
Mhm.
although there are other bachelorette properties on the market, we wanted to do more of like a high-end upscale luxury take on that and then do like go all in on the design, go all in on the amenities. And I kind of was my own guest avatar. So I designed for like, what would I want? If I was a bachelorette, where would I want to stay and what are the things that I would want to do? And like, what do I want it to look like? Like, I want to create that. And so I
Mhm.
had something so specific in my head that the only way that I was going to create that was if we did it from the ground up, which was why we went the fixer upper route so that we could like really make it like this like luxury experience. And yeah, that's kind of like where we came up with this idea.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. It's exactly what I did with my two properties too, of like,
Yeah.
what would I want? How would I want it to be designed? And there's ways to bring in the destination and I don't want to say themey, but kind of thematic, at least, let's say,
Yeah.
decor and not a overt or kitschy or obvious way, which obviously your properties do so well. So it really is helpful when we are our own guest. And not to say that you couldn't do it, but you're guessing more if you're designing for somebody who's not you.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, and your
Yeah.
properties are fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's very
So
kind coming from
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
So, you designed this property, Holly House, and obviously I'm sure once it's done, you're looking around, you're thinking, this looks beautiful. I would definitely stay here. But once you go live on Airbnb, at least if you have an experience like I did, you're kind of like, you press that like publish button and cross your fingers, and you don't really know what's going to happen. Like you think it looks great, but you also know how many other great places are out there, particularly in a place like Scottsdale. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, within 10 days of putting your listing live, it was booked solid for the next 6 months. It's huge. What were your expectations prior to hitting publish? And how quickly were you like, wow, we're doing really well compared to other people? Or did you think that this is just what happens when you go live on Airbnb?
Oh gosh. So, I mean, of course, I'm like manifesting for best possible scenario, but I was not expecting that to actually happen or like surpass what I could have even imagined. I was just hoping we could break even and like cover our monthly costs. Like that's kind of where I was at. Like, please, like, don't just like lose all this money and all this hard work. And yeah, it was just so surreal. The buzz that surrounded Holly House, I would have just never expected it. And I'm just so, so grateful.
And that home is now in the top 1% of listings in the market. And like we've talked about, Scottsdale is a hugely competitive short term rental market. And for listeners, for context, my two properties are typically in the top 5% of listings. Sometimes one of my properties is actually in the top 10%. So, top 1% is extremely hard to achieve, especially like we said, and we keep saying, a competitive market. So, when you hear people say things like Airbnb bust or oversaturation, I feel like there's a lot of buzzwords people like to throw around, particularly when they're giving you a reason why they're not doing this in the first place. What do you say to that? Because you're in an oversaturated quote unquote market, and yet look at what you've done.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get started until not even a year and a half ago. I mean, we're
Wow.
like brand new to this. So we came in when like prices were high, interest rates were high, construction prices were high. And but we're like, I mean, it's only going to keep getting higher. So like
Yeah.
let's just start. And I even remember kind of getting cold feet and talking to my husband, and I'll never forget, he was like, okay, like what's the worst that can happen? Like in the worst case scenario, we sell the house and
Hmm.
like maybe we lose some money, but like at least we'll know that we tried and like I can sleep with that at night. But what are we going to feel if like we never even give it a shot?
Hmm.
And so that kind of gave me like the okay, like that is a really good way to look at it. And I also believe if you have something so unique and you do a really good job maintaining it and you have great, like a great guest experience and good customer service, all the things, I think you will stand out from the competition.
And at what point did you realize this is working? Like, was it that 10th day when you saw you were booked 6 months out? Was it after checking in that first guest and them saying, we love this place? Like, when did you say, we've got something here? And when did that first thought of, we should do this again happen? Because, like you said, this has only been within a year and a half so far.
Mhm. So we started to get so many messages of like, hey, we love your house. We can't get a date. Do you have any other properties? Or like, do you
Mm.
have a cancellation list? Like, do you like I just felt like our guest was really trusting what we did and like specifically wanted to stay with us. So I was like, we probably need to have another bachelorette house in the same market and we probably should do it kind of soon. And so we got to looking at other houses and I mean again like nothing was kind of our vibe or what we wanted to go for. And we were sitting at home and looking around and we're like, wait a minute, we're literally living in an entertainer's dream home that of course we created for ourselves with no intention of ever making it an Airbnb. And we're in like a great location. We're right by Holly House. And we're like, what if we made our own house our next Airbnb? And we really had to sit on that idea for a while because like we had grown so attached to this house and like we have our two kids there and we have our routines, all the things. And we kind of just realized, like we're in our sacrificing years. Our kids are still young. Like, let's just go for it. Let's go all in. And so we decided like we're going to make our family home our next Airbnb. We're going to like make it more feminine. We of course like weren't living in a cowgirl's dream home. So we did have to make
All
some
we did was add a
changes.
couple extra hats and it was ready to go.
Right. And so we just went for it and we moved our family and yeah, Bachelorette number 2 came on. Holly House's 1-year anniversary was when Howdy House went live.
Wow,
Pretty
that's
quick.
so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. And where did you guys move to?
We moved about 25 minutes away. And we're in a Mesa, if you're familiar with the area, in East Mesa. And yeah, so
Did you buy something else or are you renting in the meantime?
Yeah,
You
we did buy
Okay.
a house. And we went from our beautiful backyard to then a dirt lot. So we kind of had a whole nother project.
Wow. And
But
2 young kiddos.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to talk more about Howdy House, but first, you really started this entire journey because like you said at the beginning, you were a stay-at-home mom, but you felt like you were losing a bit of your identity. So
Yeah.
I imagine what your answer is going to be, but how did these projects and do these projects continue to shape that feeling that you had from the beginning?
Oh my gosh. So I do feel like I found kind of like my creative outlet. It's been so fun to just like, even like the marketing and like making all those little reels and planning the photo shoots. So I do feel like I'm like getting my mojo back a little bit. And I feel like I'm constantly being challenged because as like a very right-brained creative girl, I really am, I've like struggled with like, oh shoot, now I have to learn how to work like QuickBooks and do bookkeeping and managing all of these numbers and trying to like, put my business brain on, which does not come naturally for me. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot to learn, but I'm kind of learning as I go.
I think that's the case for all of us. There are
Yeah.
parts of whatever we're doing that come really naturally and are very enjoyable. And then there
Yeah.
are other parts that either we need to push ourselves to learn and to grow, or maybe we need to outsource and hire
Outsource.
somebody.
That's where I'm at right now.
Exactly. And the stakes couldn't have been higher with your second property because, like you said, it was your family home. So I liked how you said earlier your husband was so supportive in the sense of, if it doesn't work, we can sell it. Like, let's just
Yeah.
try. It's great to try. That's easier said for a property that's not your family home, which I imagine you loved because, like you said, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Did that make it feel like you had less permission to try things, less creativity? Because if you failed much bigger this time, or did you not think of it that way?
I had to start disconnecting myself and like my emotions. Like I had to almost like divorce the house and like
Mm.
not look at it as like my home anymore and look at it more as like a business decision. I did have a really hard time changing my kids' nurseries into like my son's like cute little mountain nursery is now like has pink guitars on the wall. And so it's like, it is very different. So I think it was my kids' nurseries that was the hardest for me. But yeah, I just kind of disconnected myself and I actually went, I feel like more all in on the design and like we did more amenities and we put more money. And now that we've kind of like saw that like this is kind of working, like let's just go all in. So I do feel like we almost, instead of like kind of preserving our house, we're like, we let go and we just went all in on like this idea of making it Howdy House.
Because even people's investment properties or second homes, there can be an issue there of,
Mhm.
the possessiveness of their house. So I could imagine that, like you said, it's your children's nurseries.
Yeah.
Um, but what I also know is for that property, you worked with Summer Led Designs. Did you work with them on Holly House as well?
We did, and they're amazing. I love those girls so much. Funny story. So, like I said, we had bought Holly House the day our daughter was born. We're now managing this huge project. And with all the things going on, like I didn't even have the mental capacity to think about the design. So we're like, we got to outsource this. And there was nobody else I was willing to use other than their team. I just feel like they're so creative, they're so good. And I just knew that they would see my vision. So I had like, I'm very type A. So I had like a full PowerPoint presentation of exactly what it's going to be, exactly what I wanted it to look like. And they just nailed it so well. And I mean, same for Howdy House. I knew I wanted to go this like neutral cowgirl, but like you said, not overly on theme, just like very peacefully done. And so they're just fantastic. I love their team so much.
And for the listener or the viewer, Summer Led Designs is a company that specializes in designing short-term rentals, as you probably could have guessed by now. But Haley, how did you find out about them in the first place?
So through that B&B Academy, some of the people in the course were also using them. So we were looking into them. And originally, I always planned on doing all the design myself. I like love interior design so much. And then I was just kind of like getting in over my head with like way too many decisions at one time, no sleep things. And so we're like, let's just outsource for this one. And or like, I mean, still no intention of ever doing more than just the one. But in hindsight, it was such a blessing because I know that they would have never became, as successful as they had been if we didn't use their team. I just do feel like they were kind of like the secret sauce.
Yeah. And like you said, you're sitting in the hospital as your offer is accepted.
Yeah.
So you're almost getting someone, it's still your vision, it's still your idea, you're still the final decision maker.
Right.
But you're getting someone to do, 90% of the legwork.
Yeah.
Because you kind of needed it at that point.
I did. I really did.
That's brilliant. And clearly the partnership has paid off because,
it has.
as I said in the beginning, you have been featured in Architectural Digest, which is major. You were obviously selected to host the VIP party for Level Up Your Listing Summit. And I heard that you were just featured in a mega brand campaign. Can you tell us anything more about that, or is it top secret?
Yeah. So, I mean, the pinch me moments, they've just been constant. And yeah, the brand campaign, it's crazy when you work with these big brands, there's like all of these like legal things you have to go through. So I'm not able to say anything yet, but I promise as soon as I can, I will be screaming it from the rooftops. Everyone will know. So stay tuned. We'll be posting on social media as soon as we get the green light.
Amazing. And can you tell us your social handles just so for the listeners who want to check it out?
So we're on Instagram and TikTok, and they're both stay at Holly House for Holly House and stay at Howdy House for Howdy House.
Perfect. We will put them both in the show notes, and we'll also be sure to post it on @Sweet Success Podcast when you are able to share more. I'm very excited to hear. I'm going to ask you one more question that you may not be able, you might be under NDA for this one too, but I heard you've also played host to a reality TV star.
We did. We actually just hosted Alexis Bellino from Real Housewives of Orange County. She had her bridal retreat at our house. And we're actually featured, her stay was featured in People magazine. So that was very exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. And like you said, these pinch me moments keep coming. So
they keep coming.
What was the first one, or what were the ones that you've been like, you get the email and you're like, this must be spam because this is too good to be true?
Of my very first exciting thing was probably my first podcast with Andy Elliott. If you're familiar with him, he's like very motivational. And so that was very exciting. My husband has been following him for years. So he was geeking out with me and it was very cool.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're talking a bit about the pinch me moments, but in general, what has been the most surprising thing about owning and operating these rentals?
Oh, I mean, it's a full-on business. Like, I always just kind of thought you'd have like this cute house and be a good hostess. And no, like I said, the accounting and the legal and the business knowledge, and I just was not prepared for that. And so it's just kind of been like a big lesson as I go.
Yeah, I think like you said, we don't know what we don't know, and we still don't know. Once we think we're like, "Okay, I'm ready," we still don't know what's gonna come up and happen. Have you had any crazy guest stories in the sense of really good or maybe horror stories along the way?
Honestly, our guests have been so great. We've had, of course, like the occasional like broken thing, which is no big deal and to be expected. But
Mhm.
no, I feel like I love all of our guests so much. I want to be all their best friends. We're all now connect on social still, and yeah, it's been such a
Amazing.
great experience.
Yeah, I think going back to what we were talking about with bachelorette parties, like they get such a bad rap. And like you said, with broken things and such, like I understand why. But my perspective has always been that these are like the really important moments in people's lives that they're always going to remember. And if
Yeah,
my house can be a part of that, how amazing is
an
that?
honor. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
And I always think back to my own bachelorette party. My best friend booked this gorgeous house in Montauk. And, if the host had come in mid party, she probably wouldn't have liked what she saw. But by the time we were done, it was all cleaned up and beautiful and everything again. And now I will never forget that house for the rest of my life. And if she had just said, bachelorette parties are banned, you're not allowed, we wouldn't have not had a bachelorette party. We would have gone someplace else, maybe a hotel. And actually, short term rentals are so much better suited for it because you have the communal areas, and you, most of all, have like incredible communal areas in your
Thank
place.
you. Thank you so much. No, I totally agree.
You have to check out Haley has an amazing karaoke room in Howdy House. Have you used that yourself? And what's your go to karaoke song?
Well, I'm always doing it with my kids, so Lion King, Hakuna Matata all the time, or like
That's
Moana
amazing.
soundtrack.
And your youngest is 2 now?
She'll be 2 in July.
So is that their favorite tunes as well, or do they have different songs?
No, we're Lion King family.
Okay. My
Yeah.
daughter is in the phase right now that if I try to sing along with her, she says, "No, I'm singing."
No,
So,
yes, no, same. We're same.
like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna do that. So,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. My daughter still likes my singing voice, my son not so much.
What do you know now that you wish you knew before you got started? And it could be anything, like you said, tax, legal, interior design,
Yeah.
anything at all.
I think I was always told that this is going to be like this great passive income. And honestly, in my experience, it's not passive at all.
At
It's
all.
like actually a lot of work. I mean,
Yes.
it's not a 9 to 5, but like I do feel like if you're a good host, it's time consuming. Like
Yes.
you put a lot of time and care into making your properties like well maintained and like a great experience every single time for every single guest, and just like the marketing and the bookkeeping and all the things, the emails, it does add up, and I do feel like it is not passive.
At all, at all. I couldn't agree with you more, and it really depends on the guest as well. I've had people who've had actual problems happen in my house who have been so kind and courteous and gracious about that, when if anyone could have freaked out, it could have and should have been them. And then I had a guest a few weekends ago being like, "Where's the printer?" And I hope he was just asking me for a local suggestion of where he could print something and not expecting my house to have a printer and possibly a fax machine. Who knows? But it really comes down to what their expectations are as well. And I think you and I seem very similar in our hosting styles, in the sense we always want to go above and beyond and deliver. And we know how important that weekend is for them. So it can be tough and definitely not passive.
No, I couldn't agree more.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about being a host? And maybe it goes back to that as well, but if there's any other thoughts you have there too.
Um, like have you seen the videos where it's like what you think an Airbnb host does, and it's like them counting the money, and it's like what we're actually doing, and it's like staining the furniture, like power washing the yard, scrubbing the deck, all the things. And I just feel like it's not as glamorous as I think sometimes it gets portrayed, or like you said, as easy. So it is like It is like I would consider it like a real hard job.
Definitely. And especially because your properties are glamorous looking and
Yeah.
photographed so well. People
Yeah.
think, oh, like, look, you own that. You're like, yes, but it also looks that good because I am there power washing and doing
You spend
everything
a
that you
lot of
just
time.
said.
Yeah. I know. I'm like a very I'm a high maintenance guest. Like I feel like I'm one of those people who like I expect the houses to look like the listing photos.
hmm
So I want to like provide that for my guests. I want them to have an experience that's unlike anywhere they've ever stayed, from like the cleanest Airbnb to like the most comfortable mattress and pillows and softest linens, all the things. So I feel like I just try to give them what I would want.
Speaking of that, how often are you still going to the properties? Are you greeting guests? Are you doing anything with the turnovers, or do you get to use them at all yourself?
So I'm not greeting the guest. I will communicate with them through the app.
hmm
But I will go over, I'll let the cleaners kind of do their turnover. I try to do a walkthrough at least once a week just to make sure everything is kind of in its right home and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong. Everything looks nice. But yeah, I say I try to go to each house once a week.
Do you use the same cleaning team for both properties, and how did you find them?
I do. We use Well and Good, and
Okay.
the nice thing about them is they provide all of the linens and all of the duvets, and it's all laundered professionally through like a hotel laundering service. Every time you come to our house, you have that like perfect, crisp hotel linen, fluffy towels. Everything is being washed every time. I mean, there's nothing worse than like when you're staying at an Airbnb and you know that the comforter's never been washed and you're expected to like not touch it.
Oh my gosh. I feel that way about hotels too, when it's
Yeah,
like,
no,
that kind of like duvet cover, but if it unfolds and that actual duvet is touching you, I'm like, oh
no, I get
no.
so grossed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Same.
everything is like very, very clean in our house. You don't have to worry about the dirty comforter or anything like that.
I love that. What do you think is next for you? I mean, like you said, you didn't expect to have a second. Do you think there will be more short-term rentals or more design projects in your future?
Yeah, so our plan is to have one every year for the next 5 years, God willing. And yeah, so we're looking at our next properties now. We're always on Zillow and always just kind of scoping it out. I already have my vision board drawn up. I know exactly what I want it to be. So
Amazing.
yeah, I
And
have to
hopefully
say,
in Scottsdale still, or
well, I kind of feel like we've tapped out of this market. So my next one will be somewhere else. We're not exactly sure. We have a few markets in our head, so we haven't exactly narrowed it down to which one yet. Um,
all Arizona or possibly other states?
Possibly Arizona and possibly other states.
Wow.
We're,
Okay.
yeah, somewhere in between Arizona or Colorado. So we're
Okay.
traveling between.
That's really cool. And when you say one every year for the next 5 years, it reminds me of something you said earlier that I really liked, that you're in your sacrifice years right now. What do you mean by that?
We're just kind of putting in all the work now so that we can be fully present and like retire earlier, if you will. Our dream is to have like a mountain home off grid, have all the animals in the gardens and the kids running around. And as soon as we can make that dream a reality, the sooner the better.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah,
it'll be off the grid, but you'll have good Wi-Fi so you can communicate with your guests, I'm sure.
exactly. Exactly.
When you think about the future of short-term rentals, do you have any predictions for what you think is going to come next?
Um, I mean, I think that Airbnb is kind of like beyond just a place you rest your head anymore. It's now like a whole experience. So I feel like they've differentiated themselves from the hotel industry in that way. And kind of like everyone says, like it's gone are the days of having your old furniture in a house and expecting it to rent out. I just think that the stakes are higher, the experiences are bigger and better. And in order to compete, you kind of just have to like play like the big dogs do nowadays.
Exactly. And like you said earlier, think about what you would pay for as a guest.
Yeah.
Would you be paying for the Facebook Marketplace furniture with questionable stains? Probably not.
Right, right.
But I want to ask you the last three questions that I ask everyone. And the first one is, what was the best hospitality experience that you've ever had?
So this is probably the most recent, so it's kind of sticking in my brain, but we have Green Mango Pest Control come out to our house every other month, and they just do like a routine maintenance. And so our guests had just checked out. They came over to do their spray, and it had been super stormy that week. And at one point between the guests checking out, I'm assuming the umbrella flew into the pool. So he sends me a picture of our umbrella at the very bottom of a pool. And so I'm like, oh crap. Like now I got to figure out who's going to come over and like swim to the bottom and get that out. And then about 10 minutes later, he sent me another picture of the umbrella back on its stand. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy just swam to the bottom of our pool out of the kindness of his heart and got it out and put it back without being asked, nothing. And like that always stuck out to me. And it was just so kind and like above and beyond. So shout out Green Mango Pest Control. I mean, I made sure to let the owners know and do all the right things, hopefully. So I'm
What
just
an amazing
grateful for that.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and in doing that, which was not his job at all, it's not like there
No.
was a pest at the bottom of the pool.
No. Yeah.
You now bought your loyalty for life.
No, exactly. Here I am
Yeah.
on a podcast, like everybody, Green Mango.
Exactly, exactly. I had a similar situation the other day in the hospital for a visit, and they said, "Would you like a glass of water?" And I said, "Oh, yes, please." And they said, "Would you like ice or no ice?" And I just like, it was such a jarring question in the setting. I'm like, actually, ice would be lovely. Thank you so
Nice.
much. Those
Yeah.
little things that mean a
Yeah,
lot to people.
totally. I love that. Yeah, we'll just pray it forward.
Exactly. And on the flip side of Green Mango, which we all love, what was the worst hospitality experience you've ever had?
Another one that's just kind of coming to mind first was probably, ironically, my very first time ever staying at an Airbnb. It was over COVID. And my husband booked this like beautiful listing for my birthday trip. And it was in the mountains. We were so excited. The listing was stunning. And we got there and I just remember like the couch smelled dusty. So I like didn't want to sit on it. And like
Yeah.
everything just kind of felt kind of like gross a little bit. And I'll never forget like getting into bed that night and pulling back the sheets and there was like dead bugs and eyelashes. And like even since then, there's been like similar experience as of us staying at Airbnb. And like I just kind of always felt like it's very hit and miss when you stay at Airbnb. So I got to the point where I'm like, I think I'm just a hotel girl. Like they just seem more reliable. And now fast forward, now that I'm a host, I'm like, okay, that's never going to happen in one of my houses. I want them to stay and be like, this is the cleanest place I've ever seen. Like I'll lick the floors.
Right.
And so I did kind of carry a lot of those experiences with me. And in hindsight, they did work out because I see our property a lot different than if I wouldn't have had those.
Exactly. Dead bugs and eyelashes.
Uh-huh.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And I'm sure it's maybe hard to manage like rural places, which is where we like to stay. But yeah.
I don't know if the eyelashes just
I know. I'm just trying to give them like, the benefit of the doubt here.
Exactly. And final question for you. What does hospitality mean to you? And is there anyone, a person, or a brand that you think has truly mastered it?
Yeah. Well, guest experience is the most important thing to us. Like you said, these people are choosing your house to have some of their most precious memories that they'll carry with them for life. So I take that really seriously. And I just want them to have them like the most memorable, perfect time and come back again and tell their friends too. So I feel like as a host, I go above and beyond. I always write a handwritten card, set out baked goods or cookies, and just try to like go the extra mile. And then someone that I think does it really well, I don't know if this is an Arizona thing or if like other states are familiar, but There's a restaurant chain all done by Sam Fox. If you've heard of him, he does like the most incredible restaurants. He has like 10 different brands. I think there's like kind of spread out everywhere. There's like Flower Child, True Food, Olive and Ivy. I mean, he has so many, but every time you go to one of his places, you can always guarantee that the ambiance is going to be 10 out of 10, the food 10 out of 10, the experience, he just like nails it. So everything he does, if you ever have the opportunity to go to a Sam Fox restaurant, I feel like he's done it right.
Amazing. Well, Haley, this has been so much fun. I am so excited for all of your success. I can't wait to see all the new rentals to come. Please keep us posted on those and the mega brand deal that you're going to update us soon.
I know. We also have some more Bravo celebrities coming over soon. So if you guys are into that, stay tuned.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to be here today.
No, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
All right, everyone. It's time for today's sweet summary, where I break down the key insights and actionable takeaways from today's conversation. First things first, if you haven't toggled over to Instagram yet to check out Haley's rentals, do yourself a favor and take a scroll. One look at her properties, and it's no surprise how she's landed in the top 1% of listings. Every space feels effortlessly elevated, yet completely dialed in to what her guests want. But as I said in our chat, what's even more impressive than her listings is that she did this all with no formal training or experience while being a full-time mom to a toddler and a newborn. Instead of focusing on what she didn't have, Haley leaned into what she did. A husband with solid construction knowledge, a willingness to learn, and a clear vision of the kind of stay she wanted to create. She invested in education, surrounded herself with like-minded people, and found the right partners like Summerled Designs to help her bring her vision to life. And it worked. The bookings validated what she already knew, that she was creating the perfect bachelorette-ready escape for her ideal guest, someone not unlike herself. Her story is one of decisive action. Their offer was accepted the day her daughter was born, and the project, her first ever, and not to mention a full gut renovation, was completed within 4 months. Within a year and a half, she launched a second listing, a full-scale renovation of their personal home, and moved her family into a new house that she also designed. Talk about a multitasking pro. And she did all of this despite sky-high interest rates, rising construction costs, and limited inventory. So what does Haley say to those with a laundry list of reasons of why they can't do this too? Well, she and her husband made a choice. Instead of waiting for the ever-elusive perfect time to buy, they said, let's just start. That's not to say it was all smooth sailing. She had moments of doubt. But when she got cold feet, her husband reminded her, worst case scenario, we can always sell the house. Sure, they might lose a little money, which is not at all ideal, but at least they would have tried. And to me, that last part of the sentence is where the magic happens. It's what sets the doers apart from the naysayers. Those who talk about someday from those who build something meaningful now. They give themselves permission to try in the first place. Haley pushed herself out of her comfort zone to try something new, not just to build a business, but to reconnect with a part of herself beyond the role of mom. Her story reminds me of a great quote from comic author Stephen McCraney. The master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. And that concludes another episode of Sweet Success. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. We all know how important those 5-star reviews are. I also want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in. It means the absolute world to me. And I'd love to hear from you. If you have ideas for future guests, new topics to cover, or even just want to say hi, don't be shy. Message me through our website, sweetsuccesspodcast.com, or on social media @sweetsuccesspodcast. That's sweet like hotel suite. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Klein, and I'm super excited to see you all next week.